Admiral Zexathara's four eyes narrowed as she stared at the holographic display floating before her command throne. The message from the human homeworld had arrived exactly 3 standard cycles after the Council's ultimatum, delivered with the punctuality that these peculiar bipeds seemed to prize above all else. Admiral, her communications officer, a nervous Veltari named Kef, chittered from his station. The human response has been decoded. It appears to be geographical data. Geographical data! Zexthara's mandibles clicked in confusion. The Interstellar Council had sent the humans a simple demand: surrender their world and submit to Council authority, or face the full might of the combined fleets. They had given Earth's inhabitants 7 cycles to comply. Instead of capitulation or defiance, they had sent star charts. "Display it," she commanded. The hologram shifted, revealing a 3-dimensional map of human space. Red markers indicated military installations, blue ones showed population centers, and green marked resource extraction sites. Everything was labeled in the humans' crude script, translated helpfully by the ship's computer into proper Council standard. Kef's antennae twitched nervously. "Admiral, this appears to be a complete tactical overview of their entire system. Defensive positions, supply lines, civilian evacuation routes, everything." Zexathara leaned forward, her 4 arms gripping the armrests of her command throne. In her 3 centuries of military service, she had never encountered such a response. Species typically chose one of 3 paths when faced with Council ultimatums: immediate surrender, desperate negotiation, or futile last stands. None had ever volunteered their own strategic weaknesses. "Are we certain this isn't some form of deception?" she asked. Her tactical officer, a hulking Graxan named Tom, rumbled his response. "Scans confirm the accuracy of their data, Admiral. We've verified 17 separate installations. The humans have given us everything we need to crush them efficiently." The bridge fell silent except for the soft humming of the ship's systems. Zexathara had commanded fleets that had brought dozens of species into the Council's embrace. Some worlds required orbital bombardment. Others fell to ground invasions. A few rare cases demanded siege warfare that lasted cycles, but never had a species simply handed over the keys to their own destruction. "Perhaps," suggested Kef, "they recognize the futility of resistance? The humans have been in space for less than 2 centuries. Their technology is primitive compared to ours." Zexathara studied the map more carefully. Something nagged at her, a feeling that had kept her alive through countless battles. The humans had been remarkably thorough. Too thorough. Why include evacuation routes if they intended to surrender? Why mark supply caches if they wouldn't be defending anything? Send a message to the human government, she decided. Ask them to clarify their intentions. The response came within hours. A single human appeared on the communication screen, elderly, with graying hair and calm eyes that reminded Zexathara uncomfortably of deep space itself. "I am Secretary General Harrison," the human said. "I assume you're calling about our gift." "Gift?" Zexathara's voice carried the edge of suspicion. "You have sent us tactical data about your own defenses. This is either surrender or madness." Harrison smiled, an expression that Zexathara had learned meant either friendliness or predatory satisfaction among humans. Context usually determined which. "Neither, Admiral. It's an invitation." "Explain." "You demanded our surrender. We prefer to negotiate from a position of mutual understanding." The data we sent shows you exactly what you'd be taking on if you chose to invade rather than talk. Zexathara's tactical officer leaned toward her. Admiral, their defensive positions are actually quite sophisticated. If we had to take them by force, casualties would be significant. How significant? Tom's claws clicked against his console as he ran calculations. Based on their revealed positions, perhaps 30% fleet losses. Maybe more if they have additional surprises. But we would still win. Eventually, yes. Harrison continued speaking from the screen. Admiral, we know you could defeat us, but we also know it would cost you. The question is, what do you gain that's worth that cost? Zexathara found herself genuinely curious. What do you propose instead? Partnership. We have something you need, and you have something we want. The Council doesn't negotiate with primitive species. Then perhaps it's time the Council learned something new. Harrison's smile widened. Admiral, how many worlds has the Council conquered in the past decade? 17. And how many of those conquests have paid for themselves? How many have contributed meaningfully to Council strength rather than simply consuming resources? Zexathara paused. It was a question she had asked herself many times. The Council's expansion had become increasingly expensive, requiring ever larger garrison forces to maintain control over unwilling populations. We're offering you our maps because we want you to understand exactly what kind of species you're dealing with, Harrison continued. We showed you our military capabilities, yes, but did you notice the industrial data, the research stations, the agricultural yields? Tom was already pulling up economic projections. Admiral, their industrial output is remarkable for such a young species. If this data is accurate, their manufacturing capacity exceeds most Council member worlds. And they achieved this in less than 2 centuries, Kef added. Their development rate is unprecedented. Harrison nodded. We're not afraid to fight you, Admiral, but we'd prefer to work with you. Full Council membership, technology exchange, mutual defense agreements. We become partners instead of problems. Zexathara stared at the tactical display again, but now she saw it differently. The humans hadn't shown her how to destroy them. They had shown her what she would be destroying. The loss wouldn't just be Council lives in the conquest, it would be the elimination of potential that could benefit everyone. You're gambling that we're rational enough to choose profit over pride, she said. Yes, and from everything we've learned about the Interstellar Council, that's exactly what you are. Rational, pragmatic, interested in long-term stability rather than short-term conquest. Zexathara's mandibles clicked in what humans might have, recognized as a laugh. Your species has a reputation for unpredictability. This conversation suggests that reputation is well earned. Will you carry our proposal to the Council? The Admiral looked at her tactical display one more time. The humans had indeed sent them a map to their own demise, and in doing so had charted a path to something far more valuable than another conquered world. I will, she said, but I make no promises about the outcome. That's all we ask, Admiral. That's all we've ever asked. As the communication ended, Zexathara realized that the humans had taught her something important. Sometimes the most dangerous species weren't the ones who fought hardest. They were the ones who made you question why you were fighting at all.